Hello, everyone, and welcome to Osquery Office Hours. It is the end of August, and at least around me, it is the start of the school year for many, many small children. None of which who are on this meeting because all of you are adults. Anyhow, welcome to Osquery Office Hours. This week, I have no agenda. Maybe y'all have some things to talk about. I don't think I have any announcements. Last week we said we pushed 5.9. No, last meeting we said we pushed 5.9.1 to stable. It's still stable. Other announcements? Okay. Next section of the meeting is an open section for people to bring issues, questions, PRs they want to discuss. The intent here is to have an open section for kind of anyone dropping into the meeting to bring something up. I'll pause a moment. Okay. Now we are into agenda items.
I don't have an agenda item per se, but have a question. I think I saw an issue where someone was asking, like, why is there not a change log for 591? And there is, but that got me thinking, how do we generate change logs? We don't have a script or anything, right? We just do a git diff from one tag to next. And
There's actually a tool that I wrote to do this.
Okay.
So it used to just be an entirely manual process where someone would either like do a git diff and grab the things, or a git log one line or whatever. And then one day I found myself annoyed enough that I wrote a relatively simple tool to do that and attempt to sort them into the categories based on the labels and just kind of do a little bit of other line reformatting. Since then, GitHub itself has some auto-generated release notes that exist, which kind of does the same thing, but with a little bit less control over it. I can point you at the tool. It's certainly not the best tool, but I mean it exists. You could imagine plumbing it all through some GitHub actions, but it's all pretty manual still.
I was just wondering, just a question. No agenda, like I said.
Yeah. It hangs out in here.
On that note, I recall I had an issue with it and I opened a pull request for it, though got kind of stuck because the CI had some issues with GoVet. Like there were things to update and I didn't figure it out. But does it always work correctly? Because it seems it was, as far as I recall, it was taking the wrong commits, the wrong range of commits to check. So,
I mean, I've got uncommitted changes on my machine. So
okay. I see.
It's possible it doesn't.
So, well, as a heads up, you may have to, like, yeah. If anyone has time to look at the...
You did.
I see. Yeah.
Just to walk people through what it did, since we're sitting here, it uses the GraphQL API to fetch commits between tags. Then for every commit, it finds the associated PR. It uses the PR title in the change log, and it attempts to sort it based on the labeling on that. And then it sort of reformats it very slightly. So it puts PR title parentheses link to PR. And mostly because that was what we seem to have settled on 7 years ago, and I just carried it forward. Yeah.
Otherwise, semi unrelated thing, but I know that we just like recently released 591, but like technically the commits and the work done there is like older. And so I was wondering, can we try to target 510 for the end of September at this point? Because, well, we are already
let's do it.
basically in September. So, yeah.
Let's do it.
And
Let's see. What's merged? 23 commits have merged. There are 2 things I really want to get in. I am totally down for targeting the end of September.
The block device one, I did leave some comments. I think.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I haven't had a chance to look back. I saw your review. Thank you.
I've been trying to review as much as I can, and
yeah, I also on request like to get in this one about the decoration on the status log, so that we support having decorations at the root level, also in the status logs. This is causing issues in some cases where there is like a backend that is doing filtering, and when it doesn't find those decoration, it discards logs. So that's a bit of an issue.
That's 8102.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let's chuck it in the 510 milestone. Other things people want to make sure we try and look at and get in there?
Well, there are some CVEs we have to look into, so those should be.
I did try looking at the libmagic one, and I think since it's based on read, we should probably be cautious and update it sooner than later. And I kind of tried regenerating those from the CMake, but yeah, I think I'm stuck at the LZMA header requirement or something. I basically had 20-30 minutes and tried to do that, and haven't succeeded yet. But if you're looking at it, I was mostly just curious how we kind of haven't done the libraries update in a while. So
yeah, so I will definitely target for all the CVs at least to either like to be closed because they are ignored or actually fixed. So I'll move them into the milestone. Let's see. Yeah. But otherwise, I think that's it from me.
I think sort of sorry, go on.
Sorry, Stefan, on the top level decorations, we changed the Unix time to be a number now. Is that gonna cause an issue for people who rely on it? Maybe we can just like add it to the docs or something, like this is a change. I don't think it will, but
yeah, I'm not sure. It depends on what's on the other side passing it, but because technically the format is the same as the result logs now, because it's rapid JSON that is outputting it, and it's more precise with the different types. But yeah.
I think it's probably fine to change the column type since sort of everything is really just a string. But if we wanted to call it out, tag it as a breaking change, and then we'll sort of make sure we call it out in the release notes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if other libraries are as strict. Like if it was RapidJSON C++, then well, yeah, that is more strict. So it does differentiate, and when you write, you have to specify exactly correctly the type. But I guess other like I don't know, Python, JavaScript, etc. can be a bit more free with that.
Other stuff? I will mention that I have started playing with Cloudflare's R2 product to see about moving the Osquery package hosting over to it. There are details that I have not yet worked out, but it might be pretty smooth, so we'll see. Kind of just maybe an early heads up that might happen real soon. I don't know if anyone wants to know details or just kind of hear about it when it happens.
Well, if you... Okay, so what you feel would be the major issue right now in migrating there?
Why would I do this?
No. I know why you do this, but actually, what you think will be the issues in migrating there?
Okay. So I see three-ish issues, and none of them are major. The first issue is that Cloudflare really wants to own the domain that anything it works on happens in. So we couldn't just host pkg.osquery.io through Cloudflare because we are not going to move our registration to Cloudflare. This is relatively easily solvable. I registered osquery-packages, and they can own that one. Easy enough. We can serve a redirect off PKG. So that's pretty solvable. Another issue is that our GitHub scripts are very tied to AWS. So when we push packages, we just invoke the AWS CLI directly. I don't think that's going to be very hard either. I'll just add a line that invokes something that pushes to Cloudflare and will mirror to the two buckets or something. So I'm not real concerned. I haven't done it yet, but it's, it looks messy, but fine. And then the other thing, which I haven't really worked through, is sort of, at the end of the day, what should the source of truth be? Do we want Cloudflare to be the only place we write things? Do we want to write them to both buckets, but only serve out of Cloudflare? I just don't know what makes sense. I suspect that we just want to write to both buckets and serve out of Cloudflare. There may also be some stuff in the future where Cloudflare R2 can actually act as a cache against S3, but I don't know if that's all like in beta for them. So I'm not sure I'm going to go down that route versus just having our scripts push to both.
So, sorry for the maybe obvious question, but is it already then distributed in different like nations, whatever? Like it's like a CDN? Or
I have no idea what Cloudflare is doing under the hood, but I assume so.
Yeah.
AWS is not actually distributed. It's weird. AWS S3 buckets are single region, multi-zone. CloudFront, AWS's CDS, is multi-region, but only sort of, because parts of it are actually only in US East anyhow. Like if you're using Lambda, it's only in US East. And we do use Lambda. And then there are some things around about bucket multi-region replication, which we do actually have also. So our buckets are replicated out into the other regions. Okay, so the way this works today is very driven by AWS's pricing model, so it's confusing. We write into one bucket in US East, And that bucket is then replicated into all the major regions. And then we have a CloudFront Lambda that redirects people to whichever bucket is closest to their region. And that's entirely driven because bucket egress is free when you're in the same region. So it's kind of a ridiculous pile of bailing wire and machinations. So I assume that under the hood, R2 is backed by CloudFront and is distributed across their CDN, but I don't actually know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I was mostly wondering what would be the experience, and because you were talking about the cache, but yeah, if the cache is not as distributed as the S3 solution, like is it then properly a cache? But yeah,
I mean, S3 is served out of a single region, so I don't think it's going to be dramatically different for anyone. My guess is it'll be slightly better for anyone who's not in like a major in the US or maybe Europe.
Yeah,
there is like a handful of hits we get from Southeast Asia and from the Middle East. I know whenever I go poking around, so I see a couple of kind of long trailing things in those logs. Any other questions about that? I think people want to know about it.
You're not paying out of pocket for it, right? Or
I am.
Zach had mentioned something a while back that you're gonna try and switch over.
So CloudFront is effectively free. So I should actually really figure out how to expense things, but I don't know that I'm real worried about it yet. AWS is not free. So that's really the driver for me. Yeah, so for CloudFront, R2 egress is free. And I think they maybe charge a little bit for storage once you exceed something large. I don't have the numbers in front of me. So it's, with free egress, it should be vastly cheaper. Okay. Other stuff? People want to call it early? Want to chat? If no one has anything they want to talk about, I say we call it early. Wonderful to see everyone. Let's try and get 510 out.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you all.
See you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.